Hello first grade and welcome to October's art project. I'm so happy that you're here, and to get started I want to show you some of the supplies that you're going to need. So I have a plain plastic cup here, but you can use any size cup you have. You can also use a paper towel tube if you don't have a cup. I have some plain white paper here, and I have two kinds. One that's a little flimsier and one that's a little thicker. It doesn't matter, you can use either one. I have some glue, and I have a pair of scissors laying right here. So we're gonna use some scissors, okay? So before we get started, I wanna let you know that this project is going to take a couple weeks to do. So you're gonna follow the instructions today and keep your project and let it dry. And then next week, we're gonna pick it back up again and continue to work on it. So don't add anything to it. I want you to leave it completely white, how I'm gonna have it, and that way next week, you can pick up where we left off as well, okay? So let's get started. So I think I'm gonna use the thinner paper to get my project going. And I have my cup, and I'm gonna turn it upside down. Boop. Let me move you down here so you can see. And what I'm gonna do today is take my piece of paper, and again, we're not really gonna measure this exactly, but I want you to cut strips that are about 2 fingers wide. Do you see how I kind of used my finger here to figure that out? So here's my strip. You don't want them to be too skinny. If they're too skinny, you're gonna have a hard time doing this, okay? So, the one thing I always like doing in art before I get started making is get everything prepared. Because once it's prepared, you can zip through and get it finished, okay? You can put your strips together, just like I'm doing. And now cut them at the same time. Now, if they're not even, just, you know, mine aren't even, you see, but that's okay. So now when I cut, look at how much time I'm saving because I'm getting them all cut at the same time. You want your cut marks to be close together. Do you see how I'm doing that? The closer together they are, the better the project's going to look. If you have really big, wide cut marks, it's gonna be hard for you to do this, okay? All right, see my little strip? So now what I wanna do, this is so easy. I lay out my strips first. Ooh, look at that. Those didn't cut. I'm gonna just cut those off. One thing in art is the neater you are and the more careful you are, the better and more successful you're gonna be. If you're really super sloppy and everything's all over the place, you're gonna have a big, wet, messy work surface, right? So now I'm gonna take some glue, and I'm gonna run a little glue on that part where I did not cut. And again, here's another trick, guys. Don't over glue. Just run a thin little bead of glue across. So now that I'm all set up, I'm ready to start wrapping the cup with the pieces. I'm gonna use this guy first because he's a little bit bigger. And all I'm gonna do, let me move you up a little here. Oops. Is I'm gonna start at the bottom. Make sure that those fringes hang off the bottom of the cup. And you start to just press where you glued onto the cup and let it overlap a little bit. And now you're gonna take your second one and you're going to overlap it. So you want it to go on top of the other one a little bit, but raise it up. That way you still see the bottom fringes, right? And you go around, glue it shut, give it a press. So there's layer 2. easy, right? And you're gonna do this and work your way all the way up the cup. Now, I think I was able to make 5 pieces, and I may have to cut another piece of paper if I'm running a little short here, but I think I'm okay for now. So let me keep going, and again, because the cup is not completely straight, it goes up on an angle, you have to kind of manipulate your paper. In art, when you work with supplies, you have to sometimes push them and pull them and tug them to get them to work, right? But you see what I'm doing, right? And as you work your way up, you're just wrapping, that's it, it's so easy. And I think, yep, no, look at this here, guys. Instead of cutting that off, just keep going around, it's okay. You can overlap. And I think I need, yes, definitely need my last guy right here. So you put it on, and look at that, it's gonna fit right at the top. And you see, because I put that glue on ahead of time, I don't have to stop wrapping to go back to the glue. Okay. So I'm just gonna give this a good little yank and a tug. Put it on, and if it's a little wobbly, that's okay, the glue will dry. All right, see how I wrapped it? Now what I can do, I have these extra pieces here that I cut off before. You may not have these, I happen to have them. So I'm gonna cut a couple little extra here, really thin. And I'm gonna trim that off. See how I made baby ones like that? And I can use these. Get a little glue. Put the glue on. And if I have this space here, see this kind of like ending piece? I can just use this to overlap and just put some extra pieces on where I think it looks a little spare or a little empty. So I might do that. I think on the other side here. Now you're probably saying, Mr. Price, what are we making? Well, I'm waiting to tell you. That way you don't jump ahead, okay? But do you see how I wrapped the cup with the paper? It's so easy. You can definitely do this at home on your own. Now, if you don't have a cup, use the tube. It's fine. Or if you don't have a cup or you don't have a tube, you can take a piece of paper. Let me cut this in half, but just to show you guys. There's 1,000 ways to do this. You don't have to copy exactly what I'm doing. But just to show you, you can roll it. Oops. Throw some glue on the end like that. And glue it shut. And now you created your own tube to put the fringes on. Okay? So, just to show you, easy, easy. So we're gonna stop here. Take some time and do this. The neater you do it, the better it's gonna look. So, start on this, let it dry, and next week I will show you part 2. So stay tuned, and we're gonna see what this is gonna start to turn into, and we're gonna be adding more to it. So boys and girls, I hope you had fun today with me. I know I loved seeing you again, and tune in next week. We'll have part 2 of our October project. I'll talk to you soon, boys and girls. Bye.